once again. And let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite podcast.
Riffin with Griffin, yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Riffin with Griffin.
Riffin with Griffin.
Riffin with Griffin, yeah.
It's a Riffin with Griffin.
Riffin with Griffin, baby.
Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin.
Riffin with Griffin.
If it's your first time, thanks for being here. If you're here all the time, welcome back to Riffin with Griffin, the comedy, non-comedy podcast. Today, Wednesday on Netflix, book club, Antonio Banderas with the Zorro controversy. What else? It's a couple other things. But anyways, everybody, welcome back to Riffin with
Riffin
Griffin.
with Griffin, yeah.
Woo, woo, woo. Riffin with Griffin. Yeah, baby. Like I say, welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. Go to ericgriffin.com. Thanks for being here. I appreciate when you subscribe, share, and all that stuff. Hit the notifications. Hit the like button as soon as you get on. I appreciate that. I'm on Twitch, Erik Griffin Gaming. It's a way to support and follow me. You can be a subscriber on Twitch, which is great. You could be a subscriber on a member on YouTube if you want to support and you like the show. Patreon, you know, I always say I'm going to do something on Patreon and I never can get it together because I'm shooting, I'm traveling. I got to figure this out. Everybody else does it, right? I got to figure it out too. There's a lot of different ways to support me, so I appreciate that. Once again, welcome back. And like I say, if this is your first time here and you think this is a comedy podcast, you know what? I'm leaning into who I am. If you want to see a comedy podcast portion or me, a comedy podcast person, go check me out on the Golden Hour. Golden Hour with Brendan Schaub, Chris D'Elia. Pretty funny on there. Even Gen to Gen with Matthew Espinoza. That's another great podcast I do. Check me out there. We're trying to build that one up. But this one is a hodgepodge of a lot of different things. I talk sports, politics. I do movie reviews, book reviews. I give advice. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's silly. But it's authentically who I am. That's what this podcast is. So if you're looking for some silly, funny stuff, go someplace else. Or stick around because you might see that too. But this is like, Riffin with Griffin. And sometimes I'm introspective and very serious. And other times I'm like, silly as can be. But anyways, it is who it is. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. So here we are. What's going on? Before I even get started with that, this week I will be in Chicago. I'm coming your way to Zany's. Zany's Chicago downtown, December 1st through the 3rd. Come on, check me out. Last month of 2022, 21, or what is it? Is it 22? Whatever it is. Just come on out, check me out. Zany Chicago. See you there. All right, yeah. Had to do my little commercial. So come check me out there at Zany Chicago. Hey, that music was loud, huh? Well, whatever. It is what it is. So, what else is going on? So, yeah, I just got back from Dallas. Shout out to everybody in Dallas. That was great shows at the Improv in Addison. So that was good. One night I did have this one situation one night. Like this guy was sitting like close to the front row and he was like he was talking, like, he kept yelling out. It looked like he was like drunk or high or even like mentally disabled. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know which one it was. It was that kind of outburst where I was like, what, is this guy okay? And that's always tough too. If somebody, I don't know if, like, I've had this happen before where somebody in the crowd is like legit mentally disabled, some kind of thing. And they just brought him, the family brought him to the show and he's, he's kind of acting out. It's like, whatever. And then you don't know how to respond. You know what I mean? Sometimes you want to be like, yo, shut up. You want to be, but then it's kind of like you find that out and you're like, oh, but at the same time, I'm also like, yo, why'd you bring this dude to the show? This ain't the time for that. You know what I mean? Like, people sometimes put you in an uncomfortable situation because they being selfish. It's like bringing kids to a play or something and they're running around and you're like, yo, this is some adult stuff I'm trying to enjoy, and I'm not nothing against your kid, but this ain't the time or place. Same kind of thing. But anyways, the dude's 3 times I didn't say anything, and you can see the people around him just being like, what are you doing? Especially when you like you doing material. I'm doing jokes, man. I'm doing material that I have planned out. And then like in the middle of it, somebody wants to yell out like that, anyways. At a certain point, I was like, yo, man, you need to shut up. I've ignored you 3 times. Anyways. But after that, I got to say, the show was a little weird. It was intense. Then later, the next day, I get a message on Instagram from somebody. And this person's all like, hey, man, how do you say? They were like, you went too hard on that guy. And, we, some of us in the back, we didn't know what was going on. So then it just, it made us uncomfortable and it was like weird. Okay. And then it's weird because I'll get a message from someone else who will be like, oh my God, thank you for shutting down that guy. He was disturbing the show. I bring this up to say you can't please everybody. And that's the difficult part about a stand-up comedy environment. I mean, the thing about a stand-up comedy environment is that all these people are in this room who don't know each other and have different backgrounds, different social, economic, backgrounds, different upbringings, different religious, political, all kinds of different things. And they're in this room and everybody thinks they know how stuff is supposed to go or how you're supposed to act. It was weird. I don't know. It wasn't weird. It was like, it just reminded me of that fact, man. It just reminded me of that. It's like, man, this can go any which way. It's so weird. Anyways, welcome to the, to the chat also. This is live. I'm doing this live. I see you in the chat. Thanks. I'm looking at you guys is here too. So thanks for being here with that. So, all right. So let's get into some of the things I wanted to talk about today. So one of the things was like, there's a big thing right now, a push for like sobriety. There's a lot of like sober things going on, and people have the sober October or no drink November or whatever they have that's like that. I mean, I'm just telling you my own personal journey is I've never been drunk in my life. I don't drink alcohol. I could tell you the handful of times I've had alcohol in my life. I had half a beer in high school because everybody else was drinking, and I was like, okay, I guess this is what you're supposed to do. It was nasty as hell. I was like, no, thank you. I went on vacation with a buddy of mine. Workaholics was going well, and I was like, I've never gone on a vacation, so I went with my buddy and he was like, okay, you got to drink though. You got to test it out. So like, I remember I had champagne on the flight over. Champagne is like, ugh, whatever. I don't like wine. I don't like the taste. So it was like, whatever. Okay. We get there. We're on this beach, and I ordered from the bar a banana colada. Okay. And I'm tasting it. And my first thought was, man, they done ruined this great shake with this nasty, bitter thing. So I didn't like that. And then the next day at the hotel bar, they had like drink of the day. They had this like specialty drink of the day. I don't know what was in it, but I was like, I'll try that. Man, I had like maybe this much, like an inch of that, and I was done. I was like, ugh. My head was hurting. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm never doing this again. So so that's my journey. And then I have someone very close to me in my life who, is an alcoholic, you know what I mean? And it's in recovery. So I have my own, experience with that, my own PTSD with, people. Because when you're close to someone and they are just destroying themselves with drugs and alcohol, it is a really tough thing to deal with. You blame yourself for not doing enough. Then you got people telling you that let them hit rock bottom, and you're just like, whatever. So there's like a movement right now. I think that you hear a lot about, like, people being sober. There's a lot of studies about it, and I think that as time goes on and science is getting more advanced, you hear about studies from like 10, 20 years ago. So now you're starting to see some of the results and some of the things that they're saying. So like one of the articles I looked up for this topic was, here it is. Let me see if this is going to work. Screen capture. Yeah, there you go. Alcohol and your health is none better than a little. So that's the thing too, because you hear people say like, well, you should, like the doctor says you should have a glass of wine a night and all this kind of stuff. And there's actually now studies saying that that's not true. That the qualities that whatever that is in wine that is good for you, for you to really receive those benefits, you would have to drink so much wine. And then you're talking about how does alcohol affect your brain, and then it's a whole other subject. So I don't know. So like I was reading this, and they're talking about. Wait, let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. There we go. All right. So in June. So then you say they got these studies. Like, look at this one. In 2018, a study published in the journal PLOS Medicine found that among older adults, light drinking in the range of 1 to 4 drinks per week was associated with a slightly lower risk of death compared to zero consumption. So that was like a study that was done in 2018 that is saying like, hey, people that don't drink, you're going to die more than people that do drink. So it's like, that gives me some thoughts. Like, that affects me, my mind. I mean, so many people I know right now in my age range, a handful, I should say, have died recently, and it's starting, you start thinking about your own mortality, and it's like, you go, oh shit, this is something else. Okay, so then they go, in August in 2018, 2 larger studies examined the impact of alcohol. The first one, published in The Lancet, included only people who drank at least some alcohol. It concluded that the common recommendations regarding moderate drinking is 1 drink a day or less for women and 2 drinks per day or less for men. Might be too much. Okay? Wow. The second study was even bigger. It examined data from hundreds of studies and sources, including sales of alcohol, homebrewed alcoholic beverage consumption, and even estimates of tourist consumption in 195 locations. And it analyzed the overall health impact related to alcohol consumption, including death and disability due to automobile accidents, infectious diseases, cancer, and cardiovascular disease. It concluded that the best option for overall health was no drinking at all. I repeat, it concluded that the best option for overall health was no drinking at all. Of note, the definition of drink in the study was 10 grams of alcohol. That's 30% less than the standard drink in the U.S., but 25% more than the standard drink in the U.K. So, I mean, anything that like kills brain cells and, I mean, I just don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I don't want to sound like a party poop or anything like that. Like, I made my choice for my own personal. I just didn't like the taste. There's 2 reasons why I don't drink. I don't like the taste, and 2, I don't like not being in control of myself. I don't like the idea that like I am not myself. And so therefore I can't drive or I can't be trusted to think properly. I just don't like feeling that feeling. There's nothing about it that appeals to me. Like when people get blackout drunk and the next day you're like, yo, dude, they don't remember anything. If you don't remember it, what was the point of doing it? I don't understand that. So, like, if you had the choice, if it was a would you rather, okay? Would you rather not drink any alcohol? Let me think of let me say this in the best way. Because here's really what it is. Would you rather have a boring night that you remember or have the best night of your life that you don't remember the next day at all? Which one is it? Ooh, I should do a poll, huh? And if you want to say something in the comments because you're listening later, I would love to hear what you say. You know, so let me write it down. Okay, would you rather have a boring night? You remember everything, or night of your life, but you don't remember. Okay, which one would you? You know what I mean? What do you guys think? Okay, how come we can't? I don't understand. It doesn't work. Oh, because I have too much. Oh yes, too. There you go. Wait, and this one's too long. Oh wow, Jesus. Night of your life. Okay, yeah. There's too many. You can only put so many words. There you go. I don't know if that's just abbreviated version. You know, abbreviated version. Yeah, so that's really the question you have to ask yourself, because I just don't understand that. And I know, I guess, like the middle ground of that is like, oh, you have a few drinks and you have I hear people that drink always say to me like, well, I love that buzz. There's like a level of drinking where they're like, oh, I'm there in this sort of like buzz zone of fun. But I mean, it seems to me that, you know, a lot of people, they can't stay in that zone. They keep drinking, and then now what? I mean, look at OBJ. You know, he just was, you know, Odell Beckham Jr. was drunk on a plane and they kicked him off. It's like, so whatever night he had before, it affected his, you know, could be detrimental to his life financially. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, people might be like, hey, I don't want this guy. Oh, sorry to hear that, Nathan. Everybody in the chat, everybody listening, our boy Nathan here, he got dumped, and he says, tell me everything's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay, dude. But just because it's okay to feel what you're feeling right now. Like, feel what you're feeling, take it all in, eat some ice cream, watch a movie that makes you cry, listen to a song that makes you emotional, and then start hanging out with your friends, start working out, start doing hobbies, start doing things that's going to make you forget. Just improve yourself. Right now, you're hurting, so deal with the pain. It's totally okay. That's normal. All right? Well, it looks like people are saying, most of you guys are saying night of your life and don't remember. That's interesting. So anyway, to get back to it, and thanks for the super chat too, Nathan. You got some $2 therapy right there. So, you know, I got it. You know, speaking of would you rather, I was doing Gen to Gen with Matthew, and that wasn't. No, it was on. It wasn't on Gen to Gen, but we do would you rather's on there all the time. But it was actually on Golden Hour. So we're doing Golden Hour, and this guy gave us the most mind-blowing would you rather. And I'm still thinking about it. So it was like, you have your wife or girlfriend, and it's about your, like, so if your mom and your girlfriend Freaky Friday'd, okay? So your mom's personality and brain, her consciousness is inside your wife, girlfriend's body, and vice versa. And the only way to flip it back is you have to have sex with one of them. Which one would it be? Oh man, let that go in your brain, man. So anyways, all right. What else is going on? So, I wanted to talk about. So anyways, back to, you know, I don't know. So if you're out there and you make good choices, man, you know, like I always say, if you're a young person, especially a young woman, you know, if you know you're going to drink, you're going to take drugs, you're going to just go out, you're going to party, you're going to live your best life, make sure you have somebody with you that you trust. You know, that's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you not to drink, but I'm telling you to be safe and to look out for yourself. if there's any younger girls watching this, and I doubt that there is, but if you're a dad or a mom with somebody young, you're going to tell them, don't drink. They're still going to do it. What you want to do is you want to make sure, in my opinion, that they understand how to do it. Like, hey, have a partner. Don't just be drinking with people you don't know. You know what I mean? Use your instincts, use your gut, don't just be reckless, because that's how things happen. That's how things happen. Bad things happen to good people in those situations. Okay, so you know what? I haven't done this in a while, and this is going to be quick, but you guys know I read a lot of audiobooks. I'm a big audiobook guy. And one of the books, this new author I've been listening to, so I have Audible. I think Audible's great, by the way, if you listen to audiobooks. His name is Pedro Urvi, Urvi. I don't even know if that's how you spell his name, but his name's Pedro Urvi, and I'm reading this series of his. He's got a bunch of series, and I might even check out some of these other series. But if you need if you like, I love fantasy. I love fantasy books. I love dragons and old world knights and Knights of the Round Table and magic, and those are my favorite type of fantasy books. And so right now I'm reading this series called The Path of the Ranger, and I didn't look at it. There's 16 books, and I'm catching up because that one isn't going to come out until 2023. But I'm like on book 7, The King of the West. So I've listened to all 6 books up to that point, and I got to say, like, overall I really love this series, but you really are following this character through some stuff, and some of it's kind of, you might think it's boring, Like, I would say that Path of the Specialist was a book where I was like, wow, you're really getting into detail about, like, this guy's training. So it's it's in this medieval sort of universe, and the hero is the hero's mother and father. The father is thought of as a traitor because of a choice that he made, and the mother supposedly died, and you find out some things about this in his life, and he becomes a ranger, and a ranger is like this skilled archer, like assassin type person. So he goes to, because his father was that, so he goes to this ranger school to like learn how to shoot the bow and arrow, and he meets a bunch of people, he becomes friends with people, and you just kind of, and there's magic involved, and you just kind of go on this journey with him. And the way the author writes it, it's super detailed account of almost like a diary of this person's everyday life. And then the person that's doing the reading, the reader, is really great, and you start to like really get into this story, and you really kind of want to know what's going on, and you're like following along. You kind of get used to the style, and I think the author is like really good. I think he's a really good author, like how he like I said, the detail that he gives, and like really explaining like what it means to be a ranger, what it means to what it means to his friendships and all this stuff, and having honor, and putting you in like sort of dilemmas, like having to choose between country and friend and foe and enemy. It's really good, So shout out to him, and I just wanted to give you a quick recommendation about, you know what I mean? About if you're into like reading fantasy books. But this is probably it's a great read too if you want to like go buy a book. But this guy's got a great flow. So anyways, that's my recommendation for Pedro Urvi. Good dude. I think it's a good book. So now let's get into something else here that I wanted to talk about. So apparently Antonio Banderas and this Antonio Banderas apparently he was saying he thinks that Tom Holland should be the next Zorro. And of course, this is going into a bunch of like, bunch of stuff about race, gender, and who should be what, and how we whitewash things, or, and even Antonio Banderas himself, like, I don't know if he even considers himself Latino. Who even knows? I think he's actually from Spain. I don't think he's from I don't even know the origins of Zorro. I guess we can look up Zorro. But of course, this is like one of these things that's going to come up, and people are there's two sides of the coin. One person's going to be like, hey, it shouldn't matter. It's all about their performance. And then someone else is going to be like, yo, this is a Latin hero. Shouldn't this person be Latin? So you kind of got to figure out, how you're going to do that. And, the thing is like, we can't just go off the history of Hollywood, Things are different now. Like, how are we going to handle things now? Hollywood for so long, John Wayne was playing an Asian guy. He was Genghis Khan. You know what I mean? Like, like, that's just what they did in Hollywood, man. And so things were like that for so long that we kind of just go, whatever about it. But it's now becoming a thing where this is important to people. And I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I would say I just want it to make sense. That's my thing. It should make sense. That's all. Like, let's not get into, the best person for the job. Like, who cares about that? That's not the first thing. To me, it's like it should make sense also within this universe that you're creating. If Zorro is not Latino, explain it in the story. Like, is he Tarzan all of a sudden? Like, a white family, the parents died, or the parents live in Latin America and they raise their son to be like, these people need a hero and you're that hero. Then freaking, explain that in the story. And then we might be on board. We'll be like, oh, okay, so Zorro's a white guy, he lives in this place and his family, But if not, then it should make sense. That's all. And it makes sense that Zorro would be freaking Latino. It just makes sense because he's from this region. He's the hero of the region. He probably grew up in the region and he's there. So it would make sense then hire someone who looks like that. Okay? Now, here's where it gets tricky. It could be a white guy who looks Latino, or with the right makeup is Latino, or it just needs to make sense. When we look at whatever we're looking at, we want that to represent properly. Now, when it comes to now we getting into politics of what people think things should be. I'm not a believer that if the character's Mexican in the movie, that the person should be Mexican. Because could they be a Guatemalan actor, a Colombian actor, a Honduran actor, and they're just playing this? Is that okay? What about, you know what I'm saying? Is Selena, is Jennifer Lopez from the same place as Selena? Was she the same kind of Latina as, I don't even know. What I'm saying is there are differences, but it's like, do you want to get it down to that where it's like only the people from the place can play the person? Like, I don't want to get into that, So I don't know where you stand on that. And it looks like the poll, I'm ending the poll, but it's a really touchy subject that people are making a huge deal about right now. And I'm kind of like, to me, it's very nuanced. I love that word. It's a nuanced subject that I just don't, I actually understand both sides, and I lean towards the side of generally, let's have this person be, look the part, and then why not hire an actor in the general realm of that? So if it is a Latino part, yeah, let's get a Latino person. There's plenty of Latino, charming, fun Latino actors that can play Zorro. You don't need to give it to a white guy, there's that part of it, and I understand that being a person of color myself, where like, I go out for things and it's like I'm not even going out for what they originally wrote the part for. I'm just kind of like convincing them that I can do it, So it's like, it's not necessarily about being woke. It's not some wokeness so much as it's about like, yeah, there are not a lot of opportunities. And so, let's give people the opportunities, or let them at least give them the opportunity to fight for it. Right. I mean, I'm so multi-ethnic that it's like people don't even know what I am. So it's like, there's no thing for that, It's like, even for me, I've been on I've been on black shows at doing comedy. I've been on Latino shows doing comedy. I've been on like mainstream shows. It's like, who am I? What do I play? Where do I fit in? So it's one of those like sort of like dilemmas that Hollywood is in right now based off how people are talking about it. So we just have to decide. But in this particular instance, it's like, we can't ignore the history of Hollywood sort of like ignoring race, and it just being like everything, we'll just have somebody white do it because they didn't think anybody else could do it or something. Like, look, I'm not a person that like, I think we should move on from things, but we can't forget our racist past. We can't forget it and how it affects us now, I mean, it's like, here's a good analogy for you, in my opinion. It's like a pool, so we have this pool of water that's now dirty. We have this dirty pool in our backyard, and there was a lot of things that happened. People drowned in this pool, or there was accidents around this pool, and now we have to clean the pool out. So we got to take out all the dirty water. We have to clean the pool. We have to put new water in it. But it's hard to look at this pool and not remember the things that have happened. That's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to live our lives right now where we can go back and swim and not remember that someone died here, or not, or you know what I mean? The PTSD of like the past of the United States. We have to sort of get past it, but we can't forget it. So it's like a catch-22, man. So the shit is very nuanced. So I totally understand, especially, and we can't speak for Latinos. Look, if Latino people are like, yo, what you taking Zorro? Like, can we have Zorro, please? That's people's right to feel how they want to feel. And it's not our right to discount people's feelings, So anyways, it is what it is. However you feel about it, if you want to have a discussion about it in the comments, I love that kind of stuff. But like I always say, can you just comment without it being like rude and disrespectful? I mean, there is something about people, these keyboard warriors that are out there that think like, how I'm going to start is, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yo, let's have a discussion. Hey, I respectfully disagree, or I think this. I mean, and I also know that there's white people listening, with a majority of podcast listeners to me are probably white anyway. Y'all are all, y'all are feeling the way you're feeling too. Like, hey, I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. It's like you have some feelings about it too. So it's like, it's okay to have whatever your perspective is. And, I'm all about a good healthy discourse. So talk about that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, yeah? You know what I mean? Okay, so let us go into, this is not going to be a long episode, but let us go into my review. I don't know if there's going to be, I don't think there'll be any spoilers. Spoiler alert? Should we have a spoiler alert? I want to talk about Wednesday on Netflix. And, here's the thing too, man. Like, this show is actually, the Addams Family is actually a great, a thing about this, because it's like, were the Addams Family white? Were they supposed to be white? I don't know. The guy's name was Gomez, and Morticia was white, so they're probably mixed. It's probably a mixed family, but I don't know. But I do want to talk about this particular show. It's a Tim Burton joint, I think he's the executive producer of the show, created by Alfred Go, or I don't know, Go. Reminds me of my stepfather's last name, Crow, and Miles Miller. I think, like I said, I think Tim Burton is Tim Burton is one of the directors, executive producer of the show. It stars this girl that you see right here, Jenny Ortega. Guys, I'm telling you right now, this show is fabulous. Like, I have never loved a show this much for so many reasons in a long time. This is so the show is about, if you know the Addams Family, the Addams Family. I used to love the Addams Family when I was a kid. It was I would watch the Munsters and the Addams Family. And the Addams Family is this sort of it's really tricky to play this right, because they were this sort of family that they found a way to comically talk about how morbid and not evil they were, but how in a funny way how they were into murder and the occult, demonic stuff, and they just found this fun comedic way to express that they were people that that liked this sort of morbid side of life. It's a really weird thing that of how they play it. And so sometimes it's played super corny, and there's been many movies that have come out and TV shows and cartoons to try to express it. Christina Ricci, she became really famous from playing Wednesday. She did a really great job, and Wednesday is this sort of really cold. That look on this girl's face right here that's Wednesday. You know what I mean? She never smiles. She doesn't hug. She likes to torture her little brother. They're into torture and mayhem, and you know what I mean? It's so there's a lot of that in it. So you cut to now, this is a newer iteration of the show where they're just sort of following Wednesday, who they have to send off to boarding school at this sort of Harry Potter-ish type school. Anytime there's magic, werewolves, vampire, anything like that, and there's a school, it always reminds me of Harry Potter. You know what I mean? The most famous magic school of all time. So Wednesday's going off to this, this school, this sort of boarding school that her parents went to, and it's a lot of teen angst. And this girl is playing it this is a role of a lifetime for somebody, in my opinion. She's doing such a great job. She is a phenomenal actress, and I can't give her enough kudos. This young girl, Jenny Ortega. I'm not sure even how old she is. I think she might be 17 or something like that, or she might be playing it. I don't know. So she was born in 2002. So yeah, she's 19. So she's playing young, but she is so believable. The nuances of her performance, you believe her. You believe what's happening, and her feelings, and I'm totally on board. The moment you follow her and you're just seeing how she reacts to things, it's great. And it's such a well-told story arc from episode 1 to episode 8. There's things that happen, that they build up towards for her personally as a character. To watch this sort of dark, morbid character who had so much personality and charisma from episode 1 to see her evolve and change because of the environment and things that are happening to her, to see like her relationship with her mom, her relationship with herself, her relationship with like trying to like make friends and like but she's anti-friend and she's a loner, and then the special effects of like Thing, which is just a hand, and you had Uncle Fester show up and Lurch is there, and Morticia and Gomez, and they had this like the most romantic romance on television history besides Montez and Colleen, if I will say so myself. It's just, you still had all that, and then she carries it. I hope they make a second season, and I'm a super fan of this chick now, Jenny Ortega. I can't wait to see her do other things because she is such a giving actress. You know what I mean? And, this is just one of those really fantastic new shows. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know if you guys have seen it. I mean, has anybody seen it? Who's seen it? If you've seen it, and what do you think of it? I just think it's really good. Yeah, Catherine Zeta-Jones is in it. She does a great job as Morticia. And then what's the guy's name? Wait, let me get the cast. Where's the cast? Cast. Oh, I'm still on her shit. Let me go off. Oh, here we go. So it's you got Jenny Ortega and Gwendolyn Christie, that really tall actress who was in Game of Thrones. Like she does a great job. Like literally everybody in this movie does a really great job. So it's like, you got the high school angst, you know what I mean? And it's like, I like how it's done where there's not like, this is the villain, this is the hero, I will say this though, I did guess who the villain was episode 5 or 6. So something happens where they say, they describe a character. They describe something that happens to a character. And I've watched enough shows and movies and stuff to know, I was like, oh, I knew who the villain was, but it still didn't stop me from enjoying the show. You know what I mean? It didn't stop me from enjoying the show. And she's like Wednesday. She's like a really analytical. She's being a detective, and I gotta say, I can't sing enough praises for Jenny Ortega. So great job. I highly recommend this show. 1,000% recommend this show. And this show gets 10 woo-woos. This is a 10 woo-woo show for the first time. Ooh, woo, 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 woo. So 10 woo-woos for excuse me. 10 woo-woos for Wednesday on Netflix. And so if you have seen the show, let me know. Let me know what you think of the show. If you don't like it, I totally get it. You don't always have to take my recommendations. If you don't like my recommendations, I totally understand. You know what I mean? I'm just giving you my thoughts. You watch the show because it's my thoughts. And if you have some other shows you want me to watch. Oh, yeah, Luis Guzman is playing Gomez, and he's doing a great job, too. You know what I mean? Yes, the loving, Gomez Adams. So Adams Family, pretty dope. Make sure you guys check that out. All right, guys. I didn't even have any ads today, so this is just gonna be like one of those episodes where we move on from. I'm still having this thing with my phone where I lost all my folders. So annoying, man. So annoying. I put what is it? Not a meme, but I put like a thing on the front page. You know what I mean? What's it called? What are those things called? A widget, right? I put a widget, and then all of the apps flew out of all the folders because I put this widget on the thing. It's just like, man, I was so mad about that, dude. And so now now it's like hard to find things, and it's like, you have I had so many great folders for all the different apps, and I knew where to find them. So now I'm just all messed up. You know what I mean? Just really annoying. So, but anyways, I want to thank you all for watching and listening to Riffin with Griffin once again, and check me out in Chicago. All you Chicago people, I'm going to be at Zany's in downtown Chicago December 1st through the 3rd. That's this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So come check me out there. And now, as we do every week, it's time for one of these fishy beats for the rap recap. I don't drink because I don't want to get clapped. Want to keep my senses, not trying to get slapped. That's how we do it on Riffin with Griffin. This is Erik Griffin. You know I'm riffing like the book club. Rubber dub dub. Listen to the book in the tub. Woo! On Netflix, that show, super the shit. Jenny Ortega, nothing rhymes with Ortega. That show was pretty good. And another rap recap. So make sure you check it out. Step up. Thank you. Give me some dab. Thanks for watching, y'all. And I will see you next week. Yeah.